We're in New York. It is our last day here before we head home. It's the Monday, the 11th. That means it's Veterans Day here. So there's a big parade. But first of all, we're here in Washington Square Park, which is basically a sort of a speaker's corner, but magnified 10 times, to talk to people about how they are feeling. New York is often assumed to be a bit of a liberal enclave, but recent polling and indeed recent voting patterns have suggested that's not the case at all. It's very conflicted, it's a very divided city. And so we're going to see if we can find some of that variety and speak to people here.
So we're out here in Washington Square Park. What do you want to do today with this interview? How do you want to take this?
Well, I was trying to interview you about the election and see what it is that you think about that. But maybe you should just ask me the questions I was going to ask you.
Okay, so the election. What are your thoughts on the election?
It's kind of what I expected to happen, to be honest. I expected you guys to do this. I think there's a lot of bloodlust out there. There's a lot of violence out there. There's a lot of need for a sort of... People are really fucking angry in a way they can't really express, and Trump gives them a way to express that.
Yeah.
And the Democrats need to learn how to express anger.
I was a Hillary volunteer in 2016. I started selling buttons immediately after that election, and there was massive, massive demand, and the people were in the streets, and there were immediately, all of these giant protests set up with thousands and thousands and thousands of people across the country and across the world attending or planning to attend protests. So it just feels a little quiet this time.
Is there going to be reflection on the part of the Democratic Party? Are they going to be able to realize what's gone wrong here and adjust accordingly? Or is there going to be a head in the sand response?
There are incumbents being voted out all over the world. It's not unique to America. So it's possible that it doesn't have anything to do with, I thought Kamala Harris ran a great campaign considering she had 107 days to do it. I thought it was fantastic. So I don't know that it really is that the Democrats did all these things wrong and Trump and his people did all these things right. Like maybe they're just lucky and maybe it's just the state of the world right now.
The campaign that Harris ran was very milquetoast, very centrist, very not really in touch with bread and butter issues, with working class issues. Trump was like talking about no tax on tips, like such a powerful slogan. So the right outflanked the centrists, the Democrats on populist issues, right? But people do respond positively to progressive and leftist and socialist policies if it's worded the right way to avoid the negative connotations coming from years and years of propaganda.
We're trying to build a sort of a second Trump presidency bingo card. So we want things that are sort of surprising, people might not have thought of might happen, but that you think are going to happen in the next 4 years. Can you give us some sort of event, just to jog your memory?
Yeah.
In 16 to 20, Trump suggests people drink bleach.
Yep.
In order to cure COVID. I don't think that was no one's bingo card the first time round, but it did happen. So can you think of a surprising event that you think might happen that other people wouldn't have thought of?
Maybe not the most surprising, but I've heard that RFK Jr. is up for health commissioner, and if that happens, then bye-bye fluoride, bye-bye, antiviral policy. Just, I think we're going to be going back to a lot of diseases that we haven't seen for a long time. So you know what? I'm going to say Black Plague comes back.
Right now, I'm focusing on the mental health part. I had friends that were literally curling up in my chest to cry after the election. People are really scared. I have friends that might get deported themselves and are concerned about their futures economically, socially. So I'm just trying to, turn the depresso into espresso, turn the sad into mad, get people, okay, let's get active, let's rearrange this. But yeah, it's just about getting comfortable with the facts and coming up with a plan after. We need to gather our strength right now.
Was it a low enthusiasm election amongst your friend group?
No. It was a high stakes election. It was a low joy election. Nobody was excited to vote for Kamala.
She ran entirely on joy. That was the entire platform.
Yeah. She's funny. She had Beyonce on the Megan. Love it, slay. Her policies are kind of whack, though. They're just not as bad as the other guys, right? So it was definitely same energy as 2020. Fuck Trump, save America. It wasn't about her. It wasn't about us liking her. It was just lesser of two evils.
Now we're on our way to go and see Emma Vigeland, who is a commentator with the Majority Report, one of its hosts. and we're going to see what she thinks has happened in this catastrophic election for the Democrat Party.
The Democrats are in a way worse position, in my view, than they even were in 2016, because there was always still that opportunity, like, okay, we can get back that Bernie momentum, he'll run again. Now they've crushed that part of the party, and they've tried to reorient their coalition towards people making over $100,000 more a year, a professional managerial class, that even with the fact that they've become more pro-labor than under the neoliberal Obama era, their constituency that they cultivated in the never-Trump era, that will have ripple effects going forward unless they course correct really quickly.
The Democrat Party is a party of deep contradictions at the moment. It's the party of liberal managerialism and ostensibly, at least historically, the working class. It's the party of the ceasefire and the party of the genocide. It's the party of like all these different things. Yeah. What is a coherent coalition that can emerge in 4 years' time and beats J.D. Vance, who will almost certainly be the candidate in 2028?
The Democrats have to be bold, they have to be unabashed, and they have to be for the working class, which includes policy proposals that aren't just maintaining the Affordable Care Act. It's single-payer health care. We're going to deliver for you. This is our vision and how we're going to get it done in a way that's material and easily digestible. They have to embrace the anti-war movement, which creates legitimacy with groups who, in this country, who are victims of colonization or U.S. empire, and that's non-white people. You can be clear on opposing war, opposing genocide, and then also building up systems where we're proposing things like single payer, proposing things like actually free college for all, so we don't have to put bankers in between you and your education. There is no way out but through, and through means creating an alternative that is both bold and also inclusive enough to bring these folks over, because unfortunately we could have gone two ways in the era of Trumpism. We could have gone the Bernie way and we could have gone the Trump way, and the Democrats chose, by crushing the Bernie movement, to go that other way, and we see the results of that. So it's not going to be easy.
Is Donald Trump going to become a fascist president?
I think, fascist is a tough word, right? I think he ran a fascist campaign in many ways. This imagining of a mythologized past, the otherizing and targeting of minorities and the enemy from within. These are dissenters. I mean, that's fascist language. And then, of course, like the corporatization of the government as well, just handing it over to Elon or handing it over to whatever industry. All of the infrastructure is there, especially if the Republicans retain the House, which it appears that they likely will along slim margins. Fascist is a really intense word, and so I think it's a bit of a wait and see. But I do think that they're going to gut the administrative state in order to target whoever that they want to target. The thing that may save us is that Donald Trump is the laziest person on the planet. I'm not even joking. I think his primary goal in this race was to get out of jail and make sure that he didn't get locked up. And now those cases are going to go away. He's probably going to golf and fart around and give it over to Elon, or hand it over to J.D. Vance. But that's scary in and of itself, because Vance is actually ideologically a Christian nationalist, somebody who wants like almost a Viktor Orban style politics of keeping women barefoot in the kitchen and subjugated. And they ran a campaign directed at the manosphere. They ran a campaign where in the closing days, Trump was fantasizing about Kamala getting knocked out by Mike Tyson at his rallies, and was getting his audience to chant that she's a bitch. Like, with abortion rights being on the ballot and this being the result, I don't know how you can't take away from it that at least the constituency that they want to build is one that wants to subjugate women and elevate men in a way that we see flare-ups of different kinds of racism or bigotry at different points in our society. I do think we're at a point right now where there's heightened misogyny, and there's a whole separate conversation about the online media space that's enabled it, but Trump galvanized that anger, and that's something that we need to watch out for.
It's Veterans Day. We've already bumped into some veterans just there who are having a bit of a party on their own. But now we're going to go up to the parade, which is going north through Manhattan, and see what people are there thinking. You're here for Veterans Day.
Yes.
What does that mean to you?
Wow, a lot. I'm a veteran, retired Army, so it means a lot to me, and I'm just happy today because I just wanted to hang out with a bunch of veterans, and I came here, and today just turned out to be better than I expected. I was a little bit everywhere, you know. I was in the States, I was in Germany, I did the Gulf War, obviously did the Gulf War and Iraqi freedom. So I was a little bit everywhere for 20 years, so it was a career.
Do you think people who are veterans now look back on Operation Iraqi Freedom and they think we were misled, we were lied to by the Bush government?
Personally, I feel a bit lied to because I didn't learn a lot of things until after my service. That's when I really started getting into my own self-education. So I learned some truths and I learned some lies too. And yeah, I don't like it, but if I could do it all over again, I'll still be a soldier.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have feelings about the election?
The next question.
How you doing?
Give me a scale from 1 to what? From like 1 to 10, I'm a 7, 7.5. How are you doing? What are you?
What are we?
Or is it different? Is the metric system there? So it's not 1 to 10.
We have like 11 to 4.
You guys do a different thing. It's how many pounds, how many stones.
Why did Trump sweep New York? You're a New York legend. Why did Trump sweep New York in the...
Funny, I was just saying the same thing. I was just saying I'm a New York legend. No one apparently agrees. He didn't sweep New York. He lost profoundly in New York by a ton of points. Wait a minute. This is available on the Contranet. You could just look this up.
Yeah, but what do you think?
He won New York?
No. But he did a massive swing towards Trump in this election.
It actually stood still. Our vote went down. His vote stayed still. It's a percentage thing.
Yeah.
Is that also you guys do percentages?
We've heard of percentages.
Yeah. It's a percentage thing. If the net number of Democrat votes, we had 1 million fewer votes in New York City compared to 2020. And so he gained about 100,000, which is not nothing, but it's not that much. But in percentage terms,
So why did the Democrats lose New York?
The Democrats did not lose New York. Why do you keep saying that?
You lost like a substantial portion of your vote in this state.
Why did we win by 30 points rather than 40 points?
Yeah.
Really? Is that a terribly important insight?
I think it is. There's a big shift away from you.
I think there has not been. I just explained. Shift away from you is not what happened. It's just about 1 million fewer Democratic votes were cast. People did not come out. The number of voters that came out was dramatically down on our side. That happens when the out party is always more animated than the in party.
That's it. It's just incumbency effect.
What incumbency effect? Of what?
The Democrats are the incumbent party, therefore they're going to have people come out with them less?
No. Incumbency doesn't lead to more turnout. What leads to turnout in presidential elections, frankly all contested elections, the out party is more animated because they're trying to change something. So, I mean, would I think we were going to be 1 million votes fewer? No. I thought that they would. But remember, we're also not a state that's particularly significant to the Electoral College, which is definitely only an American thing.
Yeah. Well, why did you lose nationwide then? Like, what is it that people didn't come out for?
Why did 2% fewer people vote for one candidate than the other?
That you lost, yeah.
Why did 2% fewer people in the fifth closest election in American history? Basically, half the country voted one way, half the country voted another way. I mean, all the normal stuff. We didn't have a true incumbent for 3 years because he was handicapped in the way he could communicate our message. That's one thing. We also have a lot of people who fundamentally don't believe politics is on the level, so they use it as a chance to express their protest. But it basically, ask the people that voted for Trump why they voted for Trump. But half the country did.
We did. We asked them, but we're also asking Democrats why they lost the election.
I heard that. I heard the question, gave you an answer. Good to talk to you, my man. Good luck on BBC 7 or whatever you guys are doing.
So although Anthony Weiner might not want to talk to us about it, there are major areas of New York that have swung quite heavily towards the Republicans, and Trump in particular, of course, at the presidential level. We're heading uptown, up Manhattan, to this red area up here, which is one of the areas that has swung very heavily for Trump.
I like Trump.
What do you like about Trump?
Well, he take care about business and what really people need. We don't need a war. We need jobs. We need someone that says, you know what, this year we're going to cut taxes for you.
Do you feel the tax burden?
Yeah, when he was in the power, I feel more safe. He was talking all the time about illegal immigration. Me, for example, I wait 22 years to arrive this country because I want to do it in a legal way. So when I see people doing it another way, I feel like, wow, I waste a lot of time.
You feel like it's not fair that other people are coming in without using the system as it's supposed to be used?
I'm Dominican, and we got our problem with the same thing, immigration problem. And I think everybody need to respect the rules. Without rules, what we are.
Came here at the age of 3, but we went through the right legal means. And if everyone went about it that way, then everyone's entitled to that piece of the pie. But if you're not going about it in the right way, then we're just losing out.
We are voting for Trump. Yes, we did. And we're going to fucking continue to regulate America. All right?
Tell you to regulate America? What does that mean?
We're going to get that shit right. And we're going to regulate all this fucking immigrant shit.
You're worried about immigrants coming to America?
Hell yeah, I am. They are violating my rights. They are taking my resources away from my community, which is why I can't fucking progress. It's very simple.
So you want me to speak Arabic or French or Spanish or English? What do you want?
Let's go with English.
English, okay. Democrat, they feel they don't do anything for nobodies. I personally don't feel anything for Democrat. They do anything for people, for majority of people.
So they passed this big thing called the infrastructure, the Inflation Reduction Act, which is a big infrastructure bill, $1 trillion. It was supposed to be making infrastructure for America. You didn't feel any of that?
Honestly, I don't feel anything. Everything is increased. If you go, we used to go to a supermarket. We fill the cart for $150 or $180. Now, if you go to any supermarket in New York and you want to fill up your, you want to do grocery, at least $300.
100% Trump all the way. He grew up in New York. He's got a New York attitude. He's got a New York mouth. I'm Pete the Greek from Washington Heights. I won't give you my last name just in case you want to send the FBI after me, all right? If you live a tough life and you come into this country and, you're going to work 7 days a week to make that money to pay those bills.
Is that good?
Yeah, if you stay away from the wife for a little while, sure, why not? She'll drive you crazy in the house if you stay home, so might as well bring in the money and have a smile on her face.
So you're advocating for a 7-day working week so you can avoid your wife?
Yeah, well, we're all working 7 days now. Anybody in New York is working 2 jobs or 7 days a week, except the guys downtown, the big shots on Wall Street and the rich on Park Avenue that don't even go to their apartments. They live in California.
We've just been in Washington Heights, which is one of the most northerly areas of Manhattan. And it's mostly a Spanish-speaking area. And people we found there told us that they were really struggling with migration, that there were too many immigrants in the country. Many of them had gone through legal channels to migrants to America. And they felt that people who hadn't done that, hadn't gone through the slow, laborious process of getting a green card and so on, had sort of unfairly jumped the queue. And even when they saw that it's possible that they would have their own status rescinded under a Trump government, they seemed unbothered. It would happen to someone else. And there's something about this belief that bad things happen to other people, the good things will probably happen to you, and it's sort of almost like a casino, almost like a lottery, a gamble on life. That seems to undergird the American experience so much more widely. This A train will take us down to the bottom of Manhattan, and from there I'll go to JFK Airport and back to England. The last week in America, we've encountered an enormous variety of people, of thoughts, of ideas, of ways of speaking, of ways of living. And for some very strange reason, all those are compressed into a choice between 2 people, Harris or Trump. One, the managerial, patronizing elitist. The other, the brutal, titillating elitist. They're both elitists. They're both forms of managing this gigantic nation that require authoritarianism at different levels. What will happen in America for the next 4 years? The opulence will carry on, right? It will continue to be an extraordinarily rich society. And at the same time, there'll be this unfolding catastrophe of American life. Not the spectacular catastrophe that the liberal media will try and have you think about, where Trump makes some sort of gaffe or says something impolite or makes a bad remark, but the slow unfolding catastrophe of poverty and grinding suffering that also defines the American experience. And it's in this tension between opulence and catastrophe that I expect America to lead the entire world for the next 4 years.